Hey everybody, this is Emar Silver 2. Welcome to another edition of the Fighting Peaches as we recap Georgia State football action this past weekend and some news and notes in the Sun Belt Conference. As always, if you want to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can go to our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Sports Inquirer. That's all one word. Do a search on there, follow us, and you'll keep me up to date on everything that we have going on. And then finally, subscribe to us on our audio and video hosts, such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Do a search under there for Sports Inquirer. You'll find us, and you'll be up to date on all of our activities. Well, Georgia State got its first win on the gridiron this past Saturday on September 18th with a 20-19 victory over Charlotte at home at Center Park Stadium. But we're recording this on September 20th. So 2 days after the contest, we're doing the recap. Should have done that in the intro, but I got it in anyway. Big factors for Georgia State's victory. They rushed for 282 yards on the ground, and that was a big part of the contest. They limited Charlotte to only 274 total yards, the seventh lowest figure in program history, and their lowest total since holding Louisiana Monroe to 262 yards back in 2018. Dominated line of scrimmage on both ends of the field. Here is Georgia State head coach Shawn Elliott on the victory.
Winning the football game, and I thought it happened exactly the way we needed it to happen. I mean, it was a tough contest. I mean, you really had to go and fight and claw and make everything happen. And it wasn't easy by any means. It certainly wasn't easy. We started a new quarterback in Darren Grainger and Tucker at running back and some other changes, but I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased the way we did it. I think offensively there, I don't know, 7, 8 minutes, whatever it was, to take that ball control and go down and finish the game. And Jam did a good job scoring that touchdown right there at the end and kind of sealing the game against Charlotte. Charlotte played hard. Coach Healy does a good job over there with their team, and they were really, I'm sure he's fired up all the time. He's over there. I mean, he's got to be exhausted because he was running up and down that sideline trying to get those guys to fight and claw, and they did. It's like I said, it's a good win for us.
Coming into the contest, Georgia State had its struggles on offense against Army and North Carolina, their first two contests, which were losses. For making his first start for the Panthers, though, was quarterback Darren Grainger, replacing Cornelius Brown, the previous starting quarterback. And Grainger had a pretty solid night. Threw for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, also rushed for 64 yards in the contest. His 2 TD passes was a 35-yard touchdown pass to Jamari Thrash, and also a 28-yard throw to Jaceris Cradle. So that was a big factor for Georgia State in earning the victory. And as I mentioned, he replaced Cornelius Brown with Grainger. We didn't get any word of it until the start of the game. So the media asked him, I was there for it, asking Coach Elliott about starting Grainger at quarterback instead of Cornelius Brown.
We needed a spark. We needed a spark, and you certainly don't light a spark on Thursday. If you want fire on Saturday, you got to do it early. So we made the change on Sunday. After watching film, we felt like we needed to do something. We talked about the pluses and the minuses, and we thought, hey, it's just like any other position. If it was a left guard right there and he was going out and struggling in pass protection or whatever it may be, we'd have to make a change and try to get something going. And Quad's a good quarterback, and he's going to continue to be a good quarterback, and he's going to continue to fight for this job, just like Darren, because we've got to have everyone in this in this room, in that team room, in that locker room. Everybody's got a role, and there's an important role for both those guys.
Yeah, and as Coach Elliott said, they wanted to spark, wanted something different, and they were able to get that with Grainger. Here's Grainger on earning the start and really learning when he would have the opportunity to be the starter in the contest.
It was a great experience just being on this side finally, just being able to enjoy this win with the team and just execute out there and get a W. Make sure the team was all locked in all week. Just make sure we was all on the same page. Just make sure I was good and comfortable with the runs and Just go out there and play my game. That's it. Feel pretty comfortable. Well, I practiced with them all week, had some time with them during the fall and some with the spring. So it was real comfortable. Just went out there and played.
A big benefit for the Georgia State offense was Tucker Gregg, or big factor for them. He has 76 yards on 22 rushes. The senior running back is usually not not highly regarded, is not high in the depth chart as far as the rotation goes. Usually other guys like Dustin Coates, and Dustin Coates had a pretty good day, 83 yards, had a big 64-yard run in the contest. We've seen Jam Williams, 73 yards on just 7 rushes. He had his first career touchdown in the contest, which came late in the fourth quarter on a 13-yard TD run, really sealed the victory for Georgia State. But we're not used to seeing Tucker Gregg get that much playing time and be high in the rotation. But he had a pretty big night, as I mentioned, with the 76 yards on 22 carries. Here is Gregg on the victory.
We saw in the past 2 games that we controlled the line of scrimmage, and we knew we could do that in this game too. There wasn't really anything different when it came to the run attack. We knew what we needed to do, just beat them down.
Now, Georgia State did not have a big offensive explosion in the first half. In fact, they trailed 9-7 midway through the third quarter. But Grainger was able to lead the Panthers to a 66-yard scoring drive, 66-yard scoring drive that was capped off by a 28-yard TD pass to Creedle. And that gave Georgia State the 13-9 lead late in the third quarter. Charlotte was able to drive the ball deep into Georgia State territory on their next possession, but Blake Carroll caused a fumble that was on a Charlotte offensive player, and Chris Bacon recovered it for the Panthers at the GSU 13-yard line to end that threat. Here is Coach Elliott on the team's defensive effort.
Defense was all over the place. I mean, they were relentless. I think we're really good when we kind of turn those guys loose and let them go after the pass. I'm not really sure about the rushing attempts, but what they had there. But, man, we held them in check. I think they rushed the ball 39 times for 118 yards and completed whatever it was for 158, 13 and 28. Outstanding effort by Coach Fuqua and the defensive staff and our guys up front in the secondary. I mean, I never felt like they had control of the football game. I always felt like our defense was had an edge. And, for whatever reason, that's a great feeling.
And Carroll, the senior linebacker who has found his way into the starting rotation as an upperclassman, he led the Panthers with 9 tackles, including a sack in that contest, in addition to the forced fumble, and he had a pass breakup to throw that in as well. And here is Carroll on the team's defensive execution in the victory.
To be honest, we just came out more aggressive. We know how good we are on defense. I mean, we really could, be better. But we just focus on doing our job better and being more disciplined and just executing better. Yeah, but like I said earlier, we know how good we can be. We got 20 or 20. I mean, all but 2 starters back, so we knew the potential we had and how powerful and strong we can be on defense, and will be later on this year.
And another thing we saw from Georgia State in the contest was fourth down conversion. They're actually pretty pedestrian on their third down. I think they were 3 for 12 or 3 for 13. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I do have this though. They converted all 3 of their fourth down conversion attempts, really all on short runs. And so they've now converted 5 fourth downs in the last 2 games. And in that included with the big factor was for Georgia State, they were able to secure the victory with that late drive after that fumble recovery. And that game-winning drive took more than 9 minutes and started at the team's own 10-yard line. They ran 13 plays for 90 yards in that drive, ate up 7 minutes and 20 seconds off of the game clock, and that was a big part of the victory. And that the winning score of that drive was ended on a 13-yard rushing touchdown by Williams. So that was a big factor for the team in getting that victory. Here is Shawn Elliott on the team's offensive approach.
They were playing cradle man-to-man and playing, just walked up press man-to-man. And, I just looked at them, and we all kind of looked at ourselves and said, hey, he's a talented player. They haven't seen much of him, but I don't think there was an opportunity for them to cover him. To be honest with you, had we thrown some decent balls there early on, he would have had a couple earlier big plays. So those are the things to walk up and press, and then a couple times they got in us and bailed out and rolled the safety over the top. And I think they got that pick there in the third, fourth quarter. But it was kind of like a long punt. But yeah, we were seeing that press coverage, and we were going to let him go play ball.
Yeah, and Georgia State, as I said, they just emerged with that victory. Very important win for the Panthers as they progress through the season. They now face Auburn on September 25th at Auburn, so that's this upcoming Saturday. We'll have a preview. Hopefully, we'll have a player interview or two, and maybe speak to a coordinator after that, before that contest takes place. But just keep up on the site for everything that's going on. Moving on to the rest of the Sun Belt Conference as you progress through the schedule. Nationally ranked Coastal Carolina and South Alabama remain undefeated on the season. Louisiana Monroe snapped a 12-game losing streak that went back to last year in the third week of action. Remember, Monroe was winless last season, so their losing streak dated back to 2020, but they were able, to get a victory. But let's start off with Coastal, a team that we said in the preseason had a chance to have a very special season, and they are progressing through that right now. They're able to earn a 28-25 victory at Buffalo this past Saturday to run its winning streak in true road contests to 6 games. First win in the state of New York for the program as well. So the Chanticleers are off to a 3-0 start for the fourth time in program history. In 2014, 2015, last year, 2020, as well as 2021. So the Chanticleers are progressing pretty well on the season. Louisiana moved to 6-0 in non-conference home games under head coach Billy Napier with a 49-14 home triumph over Ohio. The Raging Cajuns rushed for 310 yards in the contest, led by Montrell Johnson, the freshman running back, had 84 yards rushing along with 4 touchdowns in the victory. Appalachian State bested Elon 44-10. Big play in that contest. Senior linebacker T.D. Roof had a 90-yard interception return for a touchdown. DeMarco Jackson, the senior linebacker, had a big night as well. 4.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. So he was in the Elon backfield throughout the entire contest. Chase Bryce, the graduate student, he's a super senior. He had a big night throwing for the Mountaineers, 19 of 25 for 293 yards and a touchdown. He also had a rushing TD as well. 2 Mountaineers went over the century mark as far as receiving yards, with the seniors Corey Sutton 128 yards and Malik Williams 123 yards and a touchdown. So that was a big effort for Appalachian State as they progress through the season. As mentioned earlier, Monroe snapped their 12-game losing streak and earned their first win of the Terry Bowden era with a 12-7 victory over Jackson State. Senior kicker Caleb Sutherland had 4 field goals in the contest, and that was their offensive production. And they were able to get those 4 field goals and get a victory over Jackson State. So big win for Monroe, snapping that losing streak. And we're mentioning teams that are playing really well this season. What about South Alabama? Off to his first 3-0 start since joining the FBS in 2012. Kane Womack, the new head coach of the team, has done a very good job for the Jaguars, and they were able to get a 28-27 victory over Alcorn State this past Saturday. Big performance from running back Kareem Walker, 150 yards rushing, 3 TDs in that victory. So that was a very impressive start so far for the Jaguars under Kane Womack. And then finally, the Trojans of Troy were able to overcome a 3-0 halftime deficit and bested Southern Miss 21-9. Savon Solomon, the freshman redshirt, had a big defensive effort for the team, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. So that was a big effort for them. In fact, the Troy defense had 16 tackles for loss and 9 sacks as a unit in that victory. So a very big effort from the Trojans to get that win. And that concludes this edition of the Fighting Peaches. As always, go to thesportsinquirer.net for all the news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes under Sports Inquirer. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.